Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be explaining and showcasing these starting Warframes, Excalibur, Volt, and Mag. I'm going to be explaining their abilities, their passives, what they do, how they look, things like that to try and help you guys decide on which starter that you want to pick. So for starters, we're just going to start with our good old boy Excalibur here, the poster boy of Warframe, and we're going to start with his passive. Every Warframe has a unique passive. His unique passive is he has 10% increased damage and attack speed when wielding swords. Kind of suits the whole Excalibur vibe. Slash dash here, you just dash forward and then you slash enemies doing damage. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty decent ability. You can also use this to just dart around the mission as well as like a neat little movement ability, so that's always fun. Radio blind. So this emits a blinding light that will then blind your nearby enemies. And then they also take more damage as well, and you also open them up to finishers. So you can also just get rid of a potential problem or do a lot of damage to a potential problem. So that's always nice. Radial javelin here, you just shove your sword into the ground and then an AoE damage just spreads out and deals a bunch of slash damage. Not too bad. And then we have Exalted Blade. This is Excalibur's bread and butter, essentially. He just summons an ethereal void sword that then can throw out projectiles as you slash it and then do damage with that. So that's his basic hallmark and what he does. So I'm going to show this off so that this makes a little bit more sense. So we're going to do the slash dash first. And then this is the slash dash. And as you can see, if you look up in like the upper right hand corner, you'll see my shields and health. They should say 370. You're going to notice that they change color. When they change to that like, gray, black kind of color tone, Excalibur is invincible, so he can't be hurt. Now then, spamming this can be a little rough because as you're noticing, I am running out of energy. And energy is a very vital resource in this game. So you can't just over spam something. You need to be able to get energy in order to use your abilities. Now we have the radio javelin here. And then that did as it says. It did a big AoE. And then that little slash symbol that you saw, those were the slash statuses that it showed up. And now this is the radio blind. So now they're all disoriented. They can't see. And look, finisher. Well, 50 damage isn't a lot, so let's try this. So, there we go. That did some damage. So now I was able to pull out his 4. And then you can just walk around with this and whatnot. You can walk around with this technically the whole mission if your energy can support it. But as you can see down there on the bottom right, this is a channeled ability. So because I have it out, this will constantly drain my energy. So bear that in mind that this ability is strong and it's cool as hell, but this will eat away at your energy. And also, as far as the waves go that you saw, they can attack multiple enemies in a line, so that's always nice. You can hit multiple targets. Always good to have some AoE, especially early on. And that's basically Excalibur. All in all, just a really solid for aim. Right. Next, we are going to talk about Volt. Ignore all this. Where's Volt? Here he is. Alright. So Volt. He is one of our speedster Warframes. He also, as you can see in the kind of diorama here, Volt uses electricity. And to go with that, his passive is as he's moving throughout the mission, he will charge up more electricity so that the next attack that you deal does more damage. So just having decent passive damage like that, especially starting off as a new player, it's not too bad actually. His first ability is Shock, so this will just throw out electricity at an enemy, and it'll also arc and chain to other nearby enemies as well, so you can get a lot of enemies with just one cast. His second ability is Speed, just kind of self-explanatory here. It just in short and sweet of this, it just makes him faster. And this is actually why a lot of players like him, because he can just go really, really fast, and he can make the game feel pretty good, especially when you're a newer player, because you may not be too accustomed to the parkour and to the movement of how the game is. Volt can just make it so that as you're running faster, so that can feel pretty good, especially just starting out. The electric shield here, this just deploys an electric shield that can block projectiles. You can shoot through it and deal more damage that way, and you can also pick it up, as you just saw him do in that little video there. Pretty good ability, and it'll also like block incoming damage as well, so it can also be a pretty good defensive option. And now his fourth ability, his big one, is discharge. So he charges all the electricity in his body, and then he just lets it out in a big old shockwave. And it hits in a 360 area around him, hitting everything that it can. And then it'll stun enemies and deal damage. So it can be a decent little like get off me kind of card. So that is Volt. And I'm going to showcase this. So this is his one. See, it arced to other enemies and arc to those enemies, so that's pretty cool. Just a neat little snap. Not too shabby. And then his speed, I'm not going to activate his 2 just yet to kind of show off the speed increase that you get. So this is just normal default speed I'm using with a little bow staff here. Just normal speed, nothing crazy. Yeah, not too exciting, but when I hit 2, you can see I'm a decent bit faster now, and now this is much faster. You're going, yeah, that's a hell of an improvement. So that's a decent little, that's one of the big reasons why people like Volt. He just really speedy and gets around fast and can attack fast. And especially starting out, melees are one of the better things that you can have. So that's always fun. And then you can probably notice that 1,000 that's right by my health. That's his passive. So if I whack something, it goes away. And then now I can build it back up, and then if I hit something, it goes away. So that's just his passive at work, just stacking up the damage. And then we have his 3. This is the shield that you can pick up, or just deploy. You can do multiples of them like this. So this is always nice, just to have a nice little coverage of defense. And then his 4 shocks all of them. Oh, they're getting knocked down because of the shield. That's funny. Yep, that disorients them, and then that does some damage. So yeah, all in all, Volt is pretty fun. He's kind of like the Flash, if you want to think of him like that. Just a little speedster, stocky boy. He is quite fun. He is a fan favorite for a reason for being a starter. And then next and lastly, we have Mag. So Mag here, her whole shtick is magnets. Shock and surprise, that's where her name comes from. So to go with that, her passive is basically, since she's a living magnet, items and whatnot in the game, like the loot, they just kind of attract to her more easily. It's kind of like she has a built-in vacuum, which is nice, just starting out, because you may not have access to that mod just yet. And then her first ability is Pull. So what this will do is it will tug enemies towards you. It will ragdoll them essentially, so that they're just displaced. So you can use it as like a grouping tool. You can use it as a get off me button. It's fairly versatile with what it can do. All in all, pretty good. Magnetize is a very strong ability. It's also a little complicated. To make a long summary short, when you use the bubble, it will entrap enemies nearby, and then you can shoot the bubble to then input damage into it, and then that's the bullets and whatnot that you put into it circle in the bubble, and then that deals more damage to the enemies. I will show this off later so that this makes a little bit more sense. Polarize, so this will emit essentially like an energy pulse to nearby enemies, and this will also strip armor as well with the pulse. So having an armor strip on Mag is pretty good, because I think she's the only starter that actually has that in her default kit. And then now we have Crush. So what Crush does is, and this is Mag's fourth ability, Crush will lift up the nearby enemies, and then while she's doing this to all the enemies, based on the number of enemies that she's hitting, she's going to regenerate shields. So if you're getting low on shields, you can just use your fourth ability, and then you can get your shields all back. And I can show that here. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner, max shields is 555. Cool, awesome. So let's hit 4. And now they're at 1,755. This is just base mag. This is nothing really fancy going on. This is no real shenanigans. This is just mag. So that's a lot of shields, especially for a newer player. Granted, this is also a lot of enemies, but you get the point. And then her 3, I said that it'll strip armor, and seeing as how there's nothing on her, I have to do this a lot. But you can see that little shield button icon by all of them, that's going down. So that's their armor, and their armor is being stripped. And as you strip enemy armor, you can deal more damage to them, which is very, very good to do. Armor strip is very important. Even in like the later parts of the game, you still want an armor strip. And then now we have pull here, and pull just pulls them all in here, just ragdolls them. You can use it as a little get off me thing, and then you can also use it in the air to group them like that. So that's always fun. And now we have her 2. So with her 2, I need to actually show this off because I'm going to use the Fullman. I'm going to use the Fullman because there is a $2 pack that you can get, and some of you may purchase that. So I'm just going to show this off as an example. And the mods that I'm using: split chamber, multi-shot's always good, a little bit of serration just for base damage, infected clip for toxin, and hellfire for fire. This will make gas, and then crit rate. Nothing else really going on here, just throwing in mods that I think newer players should have access to. Actually, I think this mod comes in the pack itself, along with like the Fullman and some other stuff. So again, it's $2. You don't have to do it by any means, but if you do, I'm going to show this off to show you what it can do with mag as just an example. So then we use the 2, and then we're going, and then you can see the gas proc going off, and then you can see me hitting multiple enemies at once. And they're actually getting close to death. Actually, they might actually die, as the Fullman has to recharge because it's a charge-based weapon. Oop. Yeah, some of them are dying because of the gas proc. Yeah, that did pretty good. And these are level 120s. So, yeah. That did a lot of damage. All things considered. There's like barely anything on this weapon, and Mag has nothing on her at all. And that's what it was able to do and accomplish. Actually, if we do it again, I'll probably just kill them. And then this will showcase more about the... Oops, that's the recharge. There it goes. And... there we go. That's what it can do. Takes a little bit of a second because I don't have too much on mag, but you get the idea, I think. So I get that when you first use Magnetize, it's not going to look like it's doing much, but it is actually doing quite a bit. You just may not be able to take full advantage of it yet. So, with all of this basically being said, who do I think you should pick? Well, I think this kind of comes down to what you want. If during this whole showcase you saw an ability you just thought was really cool, like you just want to use a Excalibur sword and just slash things, then pick Excalibur. If you want to be really fast and pick Volt and just whack things, pick Volt. If using magnets and disorienting enemies and whatnot is your kind of shtick, pick Mag. There isn't really a bad choice here. These are all really good Warframes. Now, if you like them all and you don't know what to pick, I'm going to explain some other things that happen in the game. So nothing spoilery, of course, just like acquisitions of how the Warframes are obtained. So Volt is probably is the easiest Warframe to get in here so long as you have access to a dojo. Because if you go into the dojo and you go to the Tenno lab in the dojo, you can just buy all of Volt's components. You don't have to fight a boss. You don't have to really worry about anything. You just can get his components and then make them. Volt is the easiest Warframe to get in the game. Well, for being a starter. But yeah. So if you wanted to get a Warframe that's harder to acquire, I would maybe avoid Volt. So now that leaves us with two options. We have Excalibur and we have Mag. So Mag is obtained a little later in the game, not too much after Excal. I think you get Excal on Mars now, and then Mag is on Phobos. So with them, between those two, which of their boss fights is harder since they're pretty, close together? Mag's boss fight is dirt easy. The boss, you can blow on him and he's gonna probably just keel over. It is not a hard boss fight at all. Excalibur's boss fight, I can see being a little bit of a, maybe not challenge, but I can see it being maybe a little annoying for newer players. So if you want to go based on acquisition, I would go with Excalibur, seeing as how the other two Warframes can be obtained fairly easily. Now, if you want to get a Warframe based on power, this is going to be between Volt and Mag. Those two are two of the stronger frames in the game and a decent little bit above Excalibur. This does not mean Excalibur sucks. Excalibur is good. I would recommend Excalibur to anyone. He's a lot of fun. But if you're looking just for straight power, there's Volt and then Mag. So Volt is more diverse with what he can do. Volt can do a good amount of in-game activities. Volt is good in most just game modes in general. He's a very diverse Warframe. You can throw him realistically anywhere in the game, and you are going to get pretty good results. Mag, on the other hand, has a higher ceiling than Volt. So she's just overall stronger once you give her everything that she wants and needs to have. So just some food for thought. If you really want power and diversity, you can go with Volt. If all you care about is just raw power, you just want to build towards that power, you can go with Mag. In general, who I think you should probably get and who I personally started the game with was Excalibur. Having Excalibur, dashing around, having a nice little energy sword and just chop things up, I thought it was fun. My starter was Excalibur, and that's who I like picking. I have gone through the tutorial with Mag and with Volt, and both of them were fine picks. So if you picked one and you're regretting it, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can always get and acquire different frames and whatnot. So yeah, that is the video here. I know I showed off like the mods and whatnot here. If this confused any of you, I'm going to leave a link in the description for when I make a video here pretty soon talking about mods and how to mod. So if this confused you, if this worries you, do not worry about it. You're not alone. Trust me. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to explain how modding works, and it's going to be simple, I promise you. Alright, well, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoy Warframe. Take care, and bye-bye.